Do your genes predict your fight success? Whenever I upload a new S&C breakdown, the comment section is flooded with people screaming genetics as the one and only answer to a fighter's success. But is success in fighting really predetermined by genetics? Let's take a deep dive into how your genes affect your combat sports performance to answer this question once and for all. Before we get into it, here's a quick crash course on genetics. Your DNA offers your blueprint, a set of instructions on how you are built. Each gene contains the instructions for producing a specific protein. Your genotype is your unique heritable genetic code. Your phenotype is the physical expression of this code, like your height, eye color, or athletic traits. Certain genes can be switched on or off depending on factors such as your lifestyle, nutrition, or exercise, also known as epigenetics. Research into the link between genetics and sports performance has been ongoing since the late 1990s. A 2023 update has combined the results of more than 300 scientific papers. It identified over 250 genetic variations associated with athletic performance. About half of those have been established across multiple studies. These include markers linked to strength, power, and endurance. It is believed that 49 to 85% of an athlete's potential to develop strength and power is determined by genetics. Fast-twitch muscle fibers are crucial for quick and powerful strikes and takedowns, as well as maximum strength, and they are strongly influenced by your genes and heritage. Genetics can vary widely even within one continent. Geographic differences are a result of historic population movements and natural selection. West Africans and their descendants often excel in power and sprint events. This is at least in part due to genetic variations favoring type 2 muscle fibers. East Africans typically dominate endurance events like marathons, in part thanks to genetic variations favoring oxygen utilization. In Europe, we don't see a stark geographic divide. However, different genetic variations also dominate in strength versus endurance sports. Two genes are particularly important when it comes to strength and power. Alpha-Actinin 3, also known as ACTN3, is a protein found in fast-twitch muscle fibers. Variations in the ACTN3 gene result in either the presence or absence of the protein. People with the RR genotype have more alpha-actinin 3, boosting speed and power. This also enhances resistance training adaptations and reduces muscle damage and injury risk. Athletes with the XX genotype lack the protein, which reduces the percentage of fast-twitch fibers in favor of better endurance. The RX genotype provides a mix of strength and endurance. Studies suggest that the RR genotype is more prevalent in West Africans and their descendants. This explains their dominance in power sports like sprinting. On the other hand, the XX genotype is found at higher frequencies in Europe and Asia. In Africa, it's most prevalent in athletes from Ethiopia. The ACE gene, short for Angiotensin-Converting Enzyme, affects blood pressure and fluid balance. It controls how muscles receive nutrients and clear waste during and after exercise. The DD genotype improves muscle repair and blood flow. Better nutrient delivery and waste removal contributes to strength and power development. On the other hand, the II genotype leads to lower enzyme levels. This allows for more efficient muscle function and sustained energy utilization. It enhances endurance at the expense of strength and power. The effects of your DNA on your strength go beyond the ACE and ACTN3 genes. Neurological adaptations, glycolytic capacity, and muscle growth are also influenced by genetics. Myostatin is a protein that inhibits muscle growth. Variations of the MSTN gene lead to lower levels or less active forms of myostatin, which helps build muscle and strength. Muscle mass is also influenced by how well an athlete responds to hormones like testosterone. Variations in the androgen receptor gene can influence muscle growth, strength, and recovery. Athletes with favorable genotypes will likely also respond better to performance-enhancing drugs like anabolic steroids. Endurance is determined by many factors, including muscle fiber distribution, mitochondrial biogenesis, oxygen carrying capacity, lactate removal, cardiac output, and VO2 max. Studies indicate that genetics account for between 44 and 68% of your potential to develop endurance. The list of endurance genes is long, with close to 100 identified genes. Let's explore some of the most important ones. We've touched on the ACTN3 gene before. Research shows that the chance of a world-class endurance athlete to have the XX genotype of the alpha-actinin 3 gene was almost 4 times higher compared to less successful national level athletes. PGC1 alpha is a protein that stimulates mitochondrial energy production. It's encoded by the PPARGC1A gene, also known as the fitness gene. PGC1 alpha regulates the creation of new mitochondria. More mitochondria in the muscle increase aerobic energy capacity, enhancing endurance and recovery. PGC1 alpha stimulates the creation of new aerobic slow twitch muscle fibers, and it also influences fat burning and glucose regulation. There are a few more noteworthy genes involved in the energy metabolism. The PPARA and PPARD genes play a role in fat metabolism, which is vital for low-intensity activities at longer durations. Certain variations of the AMPD1 gene may lead to faster muscle fatigue. The ADRB2 gene controls how the body responds to adrenaline. It affects energy management, respiratory function, and cardiac output. Certain variations result in better fat burning efficiency and VO2 max. Let's now take a closer look at genes that affect the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to the muscle and the clearance of metabolic byproducts. The NOS3 gene is crucial for the production of nitric oxide, which improves blood flow and oxygen delivery. Variations of this gene can affect cardiovascular efficiency and recovery rates. Hemoglobin is a protein in your red blood cells that carries oxygen from the lungs to the muscles. It also returns carbon dioxide to the lungs. A variation of the NF1A AS2 gene leads to increased hemoglobin levels and blood volume. When it comes to oxygen delivery, iron is also crucial. Variations of the HFE gene affect how well athletes absorb and store iron. Research indicates that genes like HIF, VHL, and EPAS1 could improve endurance in response to low oxygen levels. For example, whilst training at high altitude in the mountains of Dagestan. By now, it should have become clear that so-called athletic genes often come with trade-offs. The most explosive athletes won't be the ones with the best endurance, and vice versa. A great example of these trade-offs and how they were induced by evolution is sickle cell disease. A genetic mutation causes red blood cells to turn into a sickle shape at low oxygen levels. During intense exercise or with dehydration, these sickle-shaped cells lack the ability to carry oxygen. It can also block blood vessels, cause pain, damage organs, and increase infection risk. So what's the evolutionary purpose? The sickle-shaped cells protect from severe cases of malaria. They are less hospitable to the parasites, making it harder for them to thrive and multiply. Individuals with sickle cell disease are more likely to survive malaria and pass their genes onto their offspring. This is why the trait is more common in regions where malaria is prevalent. Genes strongly influence recovery during exercise, but also in between training sessions. The SLC16A1 gene plays a crucial role for lactate transport. It can influence how well muscles handle lactate during and after high-intensity exercise. The VEGF-A gene is a primary driver for building new blood vessels. Better capillarization helps deliver fuel and remove waste products during and after exercise. The IL-6 gene controls the inflammatory response and energy metabolism, affecting exercise recovery. The MTHFR gene is involved in processing amino acids, the building blocks of protein. Variations in this gene can affect muscle recovery and repair. Variations in the TRIM63 gene also affect how well muscles recover and rebuild after exercise. In combat sports, longer arms can provide a reach advantage. This is especially relevant in striking. There is no single gene that dictates arm length. Instead, it's influenced by multiple genes and lifestyle factors. However, one study with almost 14,000 participants showed greater average arm span to height ratio in participants from Ghana compared to Europe, Asia, and Iran. Genetics can also affect your cognition and learning abilities. Athletes who are better at acquiring new skills and memorizing strategies will get more out of their training hours. Genes also affect how you respond to different nutritional strategies. Genetics impact the absorption, utilization, and excretion of nutrients. Areas like flexibility, coordination, injury risk, pain tolerance, and mental resilience are also influenced by your genes. The MAOA gene is involved in the breakdown of neurotransmitters like serotonin, adrenaline, and dopamine. A variation of this gene has been linked to riskier behaviors and more aggression. It's also known as the warrior gene. I couldn't find any data on this, but I suspect that this gene could be more prevalent amongst fighters. So do we have our final verdict? Do your genes determine your success as a fighter? Fighting is a complex dance of strength, power, endurance, skill, and strategy. Superior genes alone aren't a guarantee for success. While certain genes provide advantages in some areas, they often come with trade-offs. Thanks to the complexity of combat sports like MMA, you can identify a fighting style, skill set, and training regime that matches your unique genetic makeup. Also keep in mind that factors like your nutrition and training will control whether certain genes are switched on or off. You won't hit your athletic ceiling if your lifestyle is not aligned with your goals. Research on genetics and athletic performance is an evolving field. In the future, we will likely see more personalized training protocols based on an athlete's genetic code. We know that doping is already widely spread in professional sports. With advancements in gene editing technologies like CRISPR-Cas9, we might soon see a new breed of enhanced athletes. What are your thoughts on gene editing in athletes? Let me know in the comments below. Finally, I want to leave you with a powerful phrase to guide your fight career. Hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. Genes determine an athlete's ceiling or maximum potential, but the right training, lifestyle, and determination are the foundation of success. So as always, train hard, recover smart, and fight easy.